Oh, apologies for being late, but it was for very good reason, you guys. Malik Tillman, substitute today versus FC Twente. Ricardo Pepi El Tren, substitute today versus FC Twente. Both came on. It was still 0-0. Malik with the assist. Ricardo Pepi with the winner for people. Sorry about that. What a day. What a weekend. Great weekend right before we go into our USMNT camp. The reason why I am late is because I had to refigure both Pepe and Tillman into the top 10, you guys. And now I'm trying to get the slides up here. So I'm going to vamp for a little bit. Hoping that this thing will load properly. But how are you guys doing? Happy St. Patrick's Day, St. Patty's Days to all of you who celebrate. I don't really celebrate. But boy, oh boy, hey, Pete, says Jeff Carey. Lozano choked and Pepe delivered. Well, that was the best part. It was Luke de Jong who goes, I don't have the graphic for today because it's, too last minute. But, de Jong wins the ball in a 1v1, chokes it up, turns, okay, and then dishes to Lozano, who's 1v1 with the keeper, completely whiffs on it. And I'm like, oh my God, the chance goes begging. Malik Tillman picks up the loose ball, makes that cross in. Wasn't an easy finish for Pepe by any means, with his left foot on the first touch, through a crowd into the top corner. So just goddamn, it was so good to see. Yes, we love starting our weekends this way. You know who has an Irish passport and celebrates St. Patrick's Day? Cavan Sullivan. I believe he has a German passport, S27. But yes, he probably is of Irish descent, at least on once. I think one side of his family, probably his mom or his dad, is Irish. Whoever his parents' name is Sullivan is clearly of Irish descent, but I believe he has a German passport. All right, let's have a quick word from our sponsor.
Fantasy Sports is back with a new and improved pick'em game across all sports that makes it easy to play fantasy sports with just a few clicks. Each sport allows you to build a parlay that includes between 2 and 5 predictions about the outcomes of player projections. As you would expect, the more picks you include, the greater the potential payout. Don't go crazy with it and play responsibly, but adding a few bucks here and there to a game gives it a little more excitement and stakes. Use my promo code 11YANKS or click the link in the description to start playing, and Underdog will match whatever you put in your account up to $100. Enjoy!
Okay, guys, smash that like button if you haven't already so other people can come and celebrate with us. This is how we celebrate St. Patty's Day. Was having a good day until I watched one of your older videos, Pete, and you were praising Leggett for having good passes. That must have been a really old video because I have been so anti-Leggett since Gold Cup of 2021, I think, was where I was like, nah, get rid of this guy. He's trash. So that must have been an ancient-ass video. Real ones remember Bet Online, says Zach Bowers. Okay, guys, let's start here. What are you guys doing for St. Patty's Day? That is the question. Some of you are clearly here, so you're not at the bar, unless you're at the bar and watching. Put me on the big screen. Esmir Baraktarevich of New England gets 10th in our top 10 today because he got a nice assist against Alajuelense in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Also created 2 chances, 1 out of 4 successful dribbles, 0 out of 5 accurate crosses, 1 out of 1 accurate long balls, 1 out of 5 ground duels won, and 0 out of 1 aerial duels won. So not the best performance overall apart from his assist, but I will say this was the assist. It was a nice little chip for his teammate to go and score. So a clever, intelligent chip into space under pressure. He didn't play well other than that assist. He did, however, play quite well today against Cincinnati. Still needs to work on his decision-making in the final third, definitely. But is a guy who I really like. Still just 18 years old, remember. So he's younger than most of the MLS prospects. His 1v1 ability, his technique, his control, his touch, but also his vision and his creativity, and is willing to try something unusual. I said it in a tweet this morning. 18-year-old Esmir Baraktarevic is such a joy to watch, man. It isn't just the technique, close control, or ability to pick a pass. It's the improvisation, audacity, and willingness to try shit. Nothing cookie cutter about him at all. So what's interesting is Caleb Porter said he's the best player he's ever seen in MLS. Now, Caleb Porter, bless his heart, is prone to hyperbole. But that's a stretch too far. But definitely there is a lot of people watching this kid and trying to get him. I know the Bosnians are very interested in him. He is with the under 23s where he belongs, but further ability and further progress from him by the time the Olympics are over, and he might end up being with the first team depending on how his progress goes. Number 9, Aiden Morris against the Columbus Crew. No, for the Columbus Crew against the New York Red Bulls. Played 90 minutes, scored a goal, had 3 out of 3 successful dribbles, 5 passes into the final third, 3 out of 5 accurate long balls, 4 out of 6 tackles won, 12 out of 16 ground duels won. A lot of these were match highs. He was man of the match. 12 out of 16 ground duels won, 0 out of 2 aerial duels won, and drew 3 fouls. I also want to highlight that despite this very good performance, he did also have some very sloppy giveaways under pressure in the defensive third, and this is one of the reasons why he's not really in USMNT contention, probably just Olympic contention for now. When you really pressure him, which the Red Bulls do because of the way that they press, he gives away lots of sloppy balls, and he does this frequently. It's an area of his game that he's really going to have to clean up if he wants to get a move to Europe, because right now there's no real pressure on him, okay? No real pressure on him. He's like going to play every week for Columbus Crew almost no matter how he performs. But if he wants to get that higher move to a better league and to really push himself, that's an area of his game he's really going to have to clean up. Let's see how he does in the Olympic camp. This was the goal. It was off of a corner, 2-0 already. He scored the third one. It was flicked on, I believe, by Sean Zawadzki, who Crew fans tell me is the next coming of Lionel Messi. So we let them enjoy their delusion. And then it was flicked on, and Aiden Morris scored it quite nicely. Number 8, Joshua Sargent versus Stoke City scored the opening goal. This was the definition of a tap-in, which is why he is not higher on this list. Played 82 minutes, scored 1 goal, 1 chance created, 1 out of 1 successful dribbles, 1 out of 2 ground duels won, 2 out of 5 aerial duels won, and 1 foul drawn. That's a 13th goal for Josh Sargent, or I think 12th goal, 14th goal contribution for Josh Sargent. It was a 2v1 with the keeper, and he finished it nicely. Now, sadly for all of us and for Josh himself, he did hurt his ankle yet again, in this win, and had to be withdrawn in the 82 minutes. He will not be in camp, along with Luca De La Torre, who was also replaced. They will be replaced by Haji Wright and Brendan Aronson. So Brendan, bless his heart, has had a terrible year and a half, but, got angry in this last game, performed really, really well, and now gets his just desserts. And by the way, I want to talk a little bit about this because I'm going to be making fun of Stu Holden later. A lot of people were saying, hey, why can Brandon Vasquez is not here? Well, forget Brandon Vasquez. In the original roster, the main 3 who missed out were Brendan Aronson, Jordan Pefok, and Haji Wright. There were 3 guys playing well Aronson wasn't playing well in Europe, but the other 2 were, right, who didn't get called up. So now, with 2 guys out, we're still bringing in 2 guys from Europe, okay? We don't need to resort to these Liga MX, MLS scrubs, all right? And then, to make it worse, you know what? I'll bring that up later because when we talk about Ricardo Pepi. Number 7, Jordan Pefok. Again, talking about guys who really missed out on the USMNT roster. Got the assist in Gladbach's 1-1 draw with Heidenheim. Played 71 minutes, got 1 assist, 1 chance created, 1 out of 2 successful dribbles, 4 out of 10 ground duels won, 2 out of 4 aerial duels won, and 4 fouls drawn. That was a match high for our boy Jordan Pefok. This was the assist. Cross came in. I think the way that he did, he could have hit this towards goal, but I think the ball came in really, it came too close to him for him to get a good swing at it. So instead of swinging at something with sort of a low percentage chance of hitting the target anyways, he one-touched it out wide for Robin Hack, I believe his name is. Robin Hack to finish it. So nice little assist for Jordan Pefok there. Still doesn't make the USMNT roster, isn't in that top 25, but should be the next guy up if something happens to one of our attacking players. Brandon Vasquez, Alejandro Zendejas, Cade Cowell, any of these other guys can sit down and wait their turn. They're in the 25 to 30 range, right, in terms of roster depth. Number 6, Malik Tillman against FC Twente. Came on, played the last 26 minutes, got 1 assist, 2 chances created, 1 out of 5 ground duels won, and none of his dribbles were successful. However, when you get the assist on the winning goal, it was a nice cross to Pepe through traffic, and then Pepe finished it. Again, I don't have the graph on this one because it literally just happened. However, for those of you who are Patreon fans, Patreon supporters, the full highlights will all be on Patreon tomorrow with my commentary. If anybody has not joined Patreon, it's a great way to support the channel. Brendan Aronson at number 5 was was rightfully left off the USMNT roster and responded exactly how we want our guys to respond, with an excellent performance and a goal in the in Union Berlin's 2-1 or 2-0, I believe, 2-1 win over Werder Bremen. He only played 78 minutes, got the goal, created 2 chances, 5 successful dribbles, which was a match high. 9 out of 16 ground duels won, match high. 3 out of 3 aerial duels won, and 1 foul drawn. Play angry more, Brendo. If you start producing like that in the Bundesliga, you'll be a roster lock. Right now, you're not. Let's see if he plays at all in this camp, and if he does, what he looks like. I think it's too early to get excited about Brendan Aronson again, but congratulations to him for responding the way you want every player to respond, and for making it into the roster. Got a little lucky with those injuries there. This was actually a nice goal. He played the little 1-2 and then finished smartly with his left foot. Ricardo Pepi, 4th in today's chart versus FC Twente, played only 9 minutes and scored the winning goal. Let me look right now at, in terms of goal contributions, what is that for Ricardo Pepi? Because I believe of all of our players, he has the highest goal contribution to minutes played ratio. In fact, he might have the highest goal contribution to minutes played ratio. Yeah, he's only played 649 minutes, and he has 11 goal contributions in total. That is 9 goals and 2 assists, you guys. Let me just do the numbers. 631 divided by 11. That is 1 goal contribution every 57 minutes for Ricardo Pepi. And earlier in the week, our boy Stu says, "Oh, it's ridiculous that Brendan Vasquez can't get a look at this dude." And people said, "What, Stu, who do you want him to come in for?" And he said, "Ricardo Pepi." Out of your mind, Stu Holden. If you cannot, what baffles my mind is that a guy like Stu Holden, okay, who was a professional player for Bolton and, in MLS, takes a look at Brandon Vasquez and Ricardo Pepi and goes, this guy's scoring goals in Liga MX, some impressive goals, some real not, just happens, versus Ricardo Pepi, who almost every time he's playing for PSV Eindhoven, the best team in the 5th or 6th best league in the world, right, is scoring and contributing, okay? Absurd to me that that's your level of talent ID. Or maybe he knows Pepe is better, but because his job is secured by some, he's got to be promoting some players, doesn't he? Don't you, Stu? Anyways, I couldn't resist having a little. And yeah, this is, again, just reason number 4,531 that I don't trust soccer media in this country, because they are full of shit. Okay, Haji Wright for Coventry City with a beautiful goal, a winner against Wolves in the FA Cup, and it wasn't any goal. Also created 2 chances, 1 out of 2 successful dribbles, 1 out of 4 ground duels won, and 3 out of 5 aerial duels won, and it was no ordinary goal. This ball came across his body. He didn't settle it to get a touch. He let it run across his body and curled it into the top corner. Coventry City are going to the FA Cup semi-final, and they have Haji Wright to thank. That was in the 100th minute, literally the dying moments of the game. It really is the weekend for dying moment goals between Pepe and Haji. And Haji, congratulations, also got brought into the roster. What's he on now? I think he's on like almost 20 goal contributions for the season also. Albeit in the championship. And some of those were penalties, to be fair, but still, the progress. I think I talked about this last week, but I want to talk about it again. He's got 22 goal contributions between the FA Cup, the championship, and the EFL Cup. Okay. That's in about 2,500 minutes. So good for him. I'll say this. Haji, refused to sign a contract with the LA Galaxy, which was smart. Went and played for the New York Cosmos when he was young. After he was actually in the IMG Academy with Pulisic and Zendejas and McKennie and Adams and all those guys. And so after, that, he goes and signs with Schalke. It doesn't ever really work out for him at Schalke, despite him scoring that Champions League goal. I don't know if any of you guys remember that. But then he goes to Holland, to the Netherlands, and, really doesn't work out for him there. He, keeps his head up, and he goes to Sonderjyxe in the Danish league. Works his butt off there, gets a move to the Turkish league, and then from there at Antalyaspor continues, and now, is in the championship doing well. And who knows, there might be Premier League interest if he keeps up this level of scoring and assisting. And what's beautiful about Haji is he can play either on the wing or he can play up top. So I'm glad we're going to have him here. Number 2, Antonee Robinson for Fulham. Not only got the assist on the opening goal, but played a key role on both sides of the ball in Fulham's 3-0 thrashing of Tottenham Hotspur. Played 90 minutes, 1 assist, 1 chance created, 3 out of 5 successful dribbles, 1 out of 2 accurate crosses, 3 out of 6 accurate long balls, and 5 out of 9 ground duels won. Antonee Robinson, that's now his 7th assist of the season, and he is just blowing up. This was a beautiful cross, curled right into the path of his teammate. Well done, Antonee. You guys, Christian Pulisic has now 4 in 4. 4 goals in his last 4 games. But in the last 2 games, which happened this week, he's got 3 goal contributions. First, it was against Slavia Prague in the Europa League in midweek. Played 63 minutes, got 1 goal, got 1 assist, created 2 chances, drew 1 foul. And against Hellas Verona, just today, played 66 minutes, 1 goal, 2 chances created, 2 out of 5 successful dribbles, 1 out of 4 accurate crosses, 4 out of 9 ground duels won, and 1 foul drawn. That is 20 goal contributions now for Pulisic on Milan. He is 1 goal contribution shy of matching his record that he set for Chelsea in the 1920 season of getting 21 goal contributions. So I think it's fair to say he will not only match that, but surpass it. And I just want to remind everybody that one season ago, he was sitting on the bench at Chelsea. He had 1 goal contribution the whole season. He rarely got off the bench, and when he did, he wasn't playing well. He makes that move to Milan. There were doubters. There were people saying he's trash, he's not good. But what we learned was when a coach trusts him, when he gets, meaningful minutes on the field. And not only that, when coaches don't overreact to a poor Christian Pulisic game, he's very much a confidence player. So if they pull you off because of a poor game, then his confidence falls. But if you leave him, he'll recover from those games. And you give him consistent minutes. You put trust in him. You tell him it's okay if you mess up. We still trust you. He will deliver for you. He showed that when he was at Chelsea, and he's showing it again when he was at Milan. But Landon Donovan wanted him to go to the LA Galaxy. Yet more reasons to stop listening to American soccer media. S27 says, Pete, I think Miles should have been against Esmir on the top 10. Are you out of your mind, S27? Did you not see the goal that the New England Revolution scored and how Miles stood there and watched it happen and didn't bother to cover on Matt Miazga? Are you out of your mind? Come on. And that's MLS. That's MLS, okay? No, absolutely not. MLS is mainly for me if you're a prospect and performing in MLS. But MLS lifers get almost no consideration in this top 10 because if you spend your entire career in a Mickey Mouse league, then I'm sorry, you're not eligible for my top 10 unless you do something incredible in that league. Okay? So, yeah, no, Miles was not good today. Not good today. I don't care how many times he ran or jumped in the air and headed ball. His performance was poor. All right. So here we go. Christian Pulisic. These were the goals. This was the really nice finish against Slavia Prague. This actually came across his body. He was going to hit it with his right foot, but then the angle was blocked. So he cut it onto his left and then curled it into the corner really, really nicely after a pass from Leao. This was a really good cross-field path to Leao, who went on to score a very nice solo goal, also against Slavia Prague. And then this was his finish against Hellas Verona today. This was actually shot by, I think, Chukwueze off the keeper, saved it, and Pulisic had made that late run into the box to get on the rebound and finish it. Now, some people say, oh, it's a tap-in. Yeah, but you still have to have the awareness and the speed to make that run, to leave your defender in the dust, and to be the first to that potential rebound. Thiago asks, do you think Pulisic is the GOAT of the season? Certainly the USMNT GOAT. Yes, he's definitely number one from the USMNT perspective. M1234, thank you for the super chat. Brendan looked like Salzburg Brendan yesterday. Bro took the news seriously. Good for him. But he needs to start doing that every game, or at least every other game, or at least every 3 games if he wants to stay with the USMNT. And guys, this is the good news. We're going to have so much depth that not great, but good players are probably not going to make that 2026 World Cup roster. There are probably 10 guys that would have, or should have rather, made that 2022 roster who won't make that 2026 roster because we just don't have enough. Zach Bowers, LOL, Acosta snubbed of the top 10. Anybody who thinks Acosta scored that goal needs to look at a beautiful thing called wind. That was not Acosta's goal. That was the Windy City's goal. So what was I saying? Yeah, the depth. Like, look, Esmir could come and provide depth after the Olympics. Esmir could come and start providing depth on the wing, right? Or even at the 10. Strikers is a really tough one now. You've got Pepe, you've got Sargent, you've got Balogun, you've got Haji, and you've got Jordan Pefok. That's 5 right there. Forget, Cade Cowell and Brendan Vasquez and Jesus Ferreira and all these other guys. Like, here you go. We're going to have more and more depth, and there are guys that are going to be left off, but that's just part of the process of becoming a great soccer nation, at least in terms of the talent that we have available to us. We just need a coach now that can turn it all into something. Turn it, tactically can get them cohesive, knows how to manage in game, knows how to manage big personalities, knows how to make a team greater than the sum of his parts, because that bald fraud Greg still has not proven that he knows how to do that. In fact, if anything, he's proven over and over again that he makes this team worse than the sum of his parts. Let's see how we do against Jamaica and whoever the finalist is, or potentially the third place game if we don't beat Jamaica. Winelke Gonzalez, Pete, Chicago got so lucky, but I hope you're happy because you have a soft spot for the... I'm not happy. I don't care if the win gets you 3 points. You're at home against Montreal. They had 1 point from their opening 3 games. They concede 2 goals in the opening 10 minutes through just sheer, utter stupidity. Dan Gasper and Andreas Solquist, who was supposedly their center back pairing, or their center back signing of the year. Kellen Acosta was not good. Jordan Shaqiri continues to be paid absurd money, $8.7 million a year, the second highest paid player in the league after Messi, to do absolute dog shit. The guy's 60 pounds overweight, doesn't care. But Mansueto spends all this money, the owner, to buy new players, but then he lets it be spent by idiots like George Heights and coached by even fucking morons like Frank Klopas. So, no, I'm not happy. Sure, you got lucky, all right? Now let me see if you're going to actually perform. You didn't deserve that win, and everybody knows it. 3-1 is how that game should have ended. Okay, you got a lucky penalty that Guti did well to finish, and then the wind literally carried the ball into the goal off of some nonsense and some terrible goalkeeping. So they didn't effing deserve it. But thank you for thinking of me, Winelka. I know you all enjoy Chicago Fire rant. The bench also had some good players. Brian Gutierrez, as mentioned, scored that penalty for Chicago. Roman Celentano made 6 diving saves for FC Cincinnati today against New England Revolution to keep them in it, particularly in the first half. Brandon Vasquez got a tap-in against, I don't remember which team this was. It was in midweek, I believe. It was in the Champions Cup. So I think it was Cincinnati. Yeah, I think it was Cincinnati, but I could be wrong. Someone correct me if I am. Alejandro Zendejas scored a goal against, it was actually against Chivas. It was Cade Cowell versus Alejandro Zendejas in the Champions Cup, and they each got a goal. Cade Cowell actually was a bit of a nice header. So good for them. As you can see, S27, absolutely no Miles Robinson anywhere near, because the man is not good. Not good.
Fantasy sports is...
Sorry about that. All right. What have you guys been doing for St. Paddy's Day? Anyone having a good time, grilling, hanging out with friends, family? Sebastian Lletget scored. Not eligible for this series. Vasquez scored against Cincinnati. Thank you, Matt. Great one from Pepsi Red. If we don't beat Jamaica, I'm going to lose my marbles, because Jamaica, I heard they're missing a lot of key players. That is correct. The Ethan Pinnock is injured. Okay, their best defender. Their best attacker, Leon Bailey, is out. They've suspended him for missing curfew. Okay, and then they're also missing, what's his name, who has a red card? I think Shamar Nicholson will also be missing, but the Everton guy. You guys, the Everton. Damari Gray, thank you. Damari Gray is the guy that's also going to be missing. But guys, even if we had all those 3 players, even if we had all these 3 players, they had all those 3 players, we should still win that game. We're at home. We have the better players. Most of our players are in form, right? Let's be honest. We're having, every time I do a top 10, it's a celebration of how well our guys are doing. So Greg has no fucking excuses. The team has no excuse. Not only should you beat Jamaica, but you should thrash them. And you should do so convincingly, okay? You're at home, get the job done, and then do the same thing to Mexico or Panama in the final. That is not even praiseworthy or noteworthy. That is the bare effing minimum, and then we need to go to Copa America and show out, okay? That is what this summer needs to be about. Don't let the media gaslight you into saying, oh, you know, it's hard to play against Jamaica. They made our lives difficult. You know, you had to go across the Atlantic, some flying, so it's hard. I mean, really, you just have to get the job done. No, you need to perform well against CONCACAF opponents. There needs to be a strong performance, okay? Not just 2 wins, strong performance. And Greg's butt should still be on the hot seat while we go into Copa America, and he needs to get that marquee win in a meaningful knockout game, because if he doesn't, fire him. He should have been fired long ago. He never should have been renewed. But this is U.S. soccer, so we know they're going to do. Whatever they want. Thiago Martin says, to honor St. Patrick's Day, what Irish player do you like the most? You want me to make Brits mad? Jack Grealish. No, Jack Grealish nowadays, but there was an amazing player. I don't know if you remember him, Thiago, or you guys in the chat. His name was Damien Duff. He played for Chelsea in the past. He also played for Fulham at some point, I believe. He started off, I believe, in Blackburn Rovers. He was a great, great Irish winger. Robbie Keane, obviously, probably Ireland's best ever player. Between Robbie and Roy Keane, I loved Roy Keane. A lot of people didn't like him, but I liked him a lot. Roy Keane, Robbie Keane, those were probably the 2 best Irish players. Damien Duff certainly was up there. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Not really. I think those 3 are probably the top 3. Jack McGlynn says S27. But yeah, Jack Grealish and Declan Rice are also Irish. Let's not forget that. Seamus Coleman was also, Seamus Coleman, the Everton winger slash fullback, was another great player. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Great celebration. Great week. We now move into USMNT weekend. Well, 2 weekends, really. Do not forget, on Thursday, the day of the game, the morning of the game, I'm going to do a live hangout together with JD to help preview the game. JD will be on the channel. We'll talk about the game. We'll talk about lineups, expectations, what we think we're going to get out of this game. So come hang for that. That will be 9 a.m. Pacific time. So noon Eastern time. 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 11 a.m. Central. So come hang for that. That'll be fun. And then obviously for the game itself, we will have, Tack will do the live watch along. I'll be there for the pregame and the halftime and a little bit during the game, and then postgame at 11 Yanks. Let's get this done. Let's win our 3rd Nations League title in a row, and then we can look forward to Copa America and the rest of the season. Have a great weekend, guys. Happy St. Paddy's Day. Thank you to Underdog for sponsoring this video. Thank you to all of the Patreon supporters who helped keep this channel alive. It means a lot to me. Thank you. All these highlights will be available on the Patreon tomorrow. And now I'm going to go play disc golf with my girl. Talk to y'all soon.